It seems like a lot of voters are under the impression that Donald Trump is probably not going to make it to the end of his term just due to his visibly very poor health. And it's a reasonable concern, right? Not only is Donald Trump unable to walk upstairs without falling, he's unable to stand up like a normal human being, his mental health is basically in the toilet, and he's 79 years old now. He's an old fella that doesn't work out, that doesn't take care of himself, that eats like a pig. So a lot of people seem to think he ain't going to make it, and then what happens? And that leads me to another viewer question. This from one from Shelby Wing 2174, who says, "Would love for you to give your opinion on what would happen if Trump dies and Vance takes over. Keep up the good work." Now, let me just be straight up front with this. This is not saying, man, we hope he dies. Nobody is saying that. We're doing the hypothetical of what happens if he does and JD Vance takes over. What would that world look like? And the answer is still not good. But here's the way this happened. If something were to happen to Donald Trump, JD Vance would immediately be sworn in as the new president of the United States, at which point he would be able to appoint his new vice president. I do believe it actually has to be approved by the Senate, but obviously I don't think that would be a problem in a national crisis like that. It's going to happen. So JD Vance gets to pick out of anybody in the country who is going to be his vice president. So we're going to get another person in JD Vance's role, and they will probably fade off into obscurity, much like Vance already has. Now, what would Vance do as president that Trump is either not doing, or would he continue with Trump's policies that he is doing? And the answer is depends. On the trade war, I think JD Vance has enough sense to know this has been a really dumb idea. So if JD Vance were president, would he continue Donald Trump's tariff policy? I would like to think that he would not. Would he continue Donald Trump's policy of bowing down to Putin and saying F you to Ukraine? Probably. So that would be really bad. Would JD Vance do anything to further, I guess I should say better, our relationship with foreign countries? And the answer is probably not. JD Vance does appear to share a lot of Donald Trump's views on the rest of the world, right? You guys are screwy. You're taking advantage of us. We're America first. I don't think that changes with Vance. Now, in terms of gutting the government and getting rid of competent people, absolutely JD Vance would continue that. However, I do think Vance would get rid of a lot of the cabinet members that Donald Trump has picked. He would basically, depending on how much time he had left in office, want to remake things in a way that's his instead of just inheriting somebody else's garbage, which that's what those people are. They're garbage. So I think Vance would probably fire some people, ask them, hey, you're a Trump appointee, not a Vance appointee. How about you send in your letter of resignation and I'll go ahead and replace you. There is, of course, the threat of judicial appointments, which would be no different than what we see with Donald Trump, which were no different than what we saw with any other Republican. Loyalty tests, however, would probably be out the window, so that'd be a good thing. Overall, the answer is, if Vance took over, should something happen to Donald Trump health-wise, a few things might get slightly better, but everything else would effectively remain the same, I think. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.